Oh, good morning, everybody. Hello, that's James Ham. That's Joe Brazil. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube, and we're the Insiders. We're here every day from 10 a.m. to noon, right here on ESPN 1320 AM or 98.5 FM HD2 if you're listening to HD radio. Of course, we simulcast on YouTube at youtube.com/ESPN 1320 and twitch.tv/ESPN 1320. Hello, everybody watching there, and everybody in the chatty house who's hanging out with us in the YouTube comment section. Hi, good morning to everybody except Manny. The James Ham and Kyle Madsen Show podcast, that's available wherever you get your podcasts. It's a podcast version of this show. Joe does such a great job of cutting up each hour and then the full show. So if you want to listen back to a single hour of the whole show, or you want to listen to it for the first time, you can. And if you are listening to it for the first time, hello from the past. Hope the future is going well. Am I missing one? Free Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app. It's free.
You know what I
suggest? Music, tons of radio.
Kyle, they should just
podcast.
Add it on every single platform simultaneously. Just have it just rolling everywhere.
What do you mean?
Like,
people like listening on the radio.
Have it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Get in your car, turn it on the radio, and have it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Go ahead and fire up Twitch while you're doing that.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
No, just like watch it everywhere. Listen to it every single the Odyssey app playing in the background.
What's funny is the delays are all different on all of them. It would be chaos if you tried listening on every platform.
I wonder if you could hit the pause button just like really quick and try to sync them.
Oh yeah, we do. I do that. Absolutely.
Just getting no work done during your day because you're trying to sync up.
They'll be when I'm over at my desk and Charlie's listening from the radio at his desk, and I'll be listening to the show D'Lo and Casey on YouTube. I don't tell him I do this, but I'm ahead, so I have to pause it, and I'm playing that game every day. And, I'm not gonna.
You should just yell,
"Spoiler alert!" The app is definitely delayed, though, so you couldn't pause it to catch it up.
Okay.
And I don't know how you're pausing a radio.
Yeah, no, he's.
No, I know. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about our hypothetical person.
Understood.
Who's trying to listen to 1320 AM on our various platforms all at once.
That would be spectacular.
This is a ridiculous premise. We'll talk about the NBA playoffs. We're going to give away $500 today, obviously. Have you guys noticed though that there's so in our complex here, our complex.
Oh gosh.
In our complex here, we were like the only people on the second floor for as long as I've been here.
Forever.
There was another company, like a closed captioning company or something, next door, but there was never anybody there.
There was like two people that might have worked there at some point.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It was a rumor.
First of all, have you ever noticed how big that office is?
Yeah,
it's
I got
massive.
to do a tour. It's insane.
Shout out to our guy out there who gives us tours. But anyways, there's like a new building. I think it's Acrisure. They sponsor the Pittsburgh Steelers stadium.
Oh.
So Acrisure Stadium is next to us now. And they have like a full building of people. So the parking lot is way more crowded than it has ever been.
Ridiculous.
It's insane.
Yep.
We went from having 6 cars in the parking lot to 40. Every person that works over there is 6'8".
Dude, they're so tall.
It is ridiculous.
Every
time I walk by somebody in the hall, I go into the back. That person is 6'5" or taller. Insane.
Maybe
apparently to work at Acrisure, you have to be a small a shooting guard or bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like maybe Monty and Wes should have just hired Acrisure to find them
literally
the length and athleticism they needed at the 3 and the 4.
Acrisure has more front court depth than the Kings. It's ridiculous what's happening around here. It's really ridiculous.
I had someone, I was walking up the stairs, I get near that area, and someone pops out. Hi, are you with Acrisure? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're just saying. No, I'm like, it's just random people. I almost feel like it's you seen the movie Go?
No.
Okay. So there's
I feel like at some point you're gonna get
that you
I've
haven't
not seen it.
Anything.
I haven't seen the movie that you're about to reference.
There's a movie called Go, and what they realize is that they're in like they get invited over to this couple's house for dinner.
Okay.
And things start to get really, really awkward. Like really awkward. Like,
oh, it sounds like my kind of movie.
They like the husband takes one of the guys into the bedroom to show him the new mattress, strips down in the kitchen. Things are going wild too. The whole time they don't understand, but it's literally like an Amway spiel. they're trying to get them sign up into a pyramid scheme, and they think that
That's
they're
hilarious.
like they're in like some
right, some
weird
swingers party.
swinger
Yeah.
party. No, that's
And
not
it's
what
a
it is.
pyramid scheme.
It's
That's
a
great.
pyramid scheme.
That's great.
So that's what I feel like. We keep walking by, and one time they'll be, "Hey, can we just at least tell you what we're about in here?" And we'll be like, "Oh," and then they'll just, "Oh, can we get you a water? Maybe, some
cucumber water."
Yeah, some cucumber water, and you need a cookie, and like they'll draw us in, Kyle.
You give me a cucumber water and a cookie, I'll do most things.
Clipped.
There's not there's not a lot of things I wouldn't do for a nice cucumber water and a cookie. No, cucumber water is kind of insane, but yeah, man, every person that works over there is insanely tall. So not only do we have now, here's my second question. I have not gone in there yet and been like, "Hey, welcome to the building." I was thinking about doing that today because there's like a secretary person.
Yes.
Do we loop them in on Donut Friday just this Thursday? You can pick them up for our office. I'll go get, and I'll just do like a dozen. I'm not going to get them a whole rack of donuts like we get.
Well, how many people work over
I
there?
don't know.
See, that's the problem.
But I feel like a dozen donuts is the standard. If I drop
it's
off,
better than no donuts.
Right. Okay. So here we go. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. We're going to get to this before we get to the NBA playoffs, because I think what we're experiencing in the NBA right now is like a turning point for the league, and there could be an impact on the Sacramento Kings, and we'll talk about it, but we need to figure out this donut crisis situation first. 916-909-1320, because here's my thought on it. They're not expecting anything. We're just the company next door.
Mm-hmm.
The very loud sign. We're just the company next door. If we pop in there, it's the thought of, hey, we do this donut thing. We're looping you guys in to welcome you to the building. Hello, here is this gift from us.
Okay.
It's 12 donuts. Maybe 40 people work over there, and only 12 of them get donuts. But the 28 people who don't get donuts, I mean, there's probably not all 28 will want a donut. Let's call it the 18 people who want a donut that don't get a donut. They're not going to be like, wow, we hate Odyssey. They're going to be like, wow, that's so nice. They brought donuts for us to welcome us to the building.
So now you're thinking maybe they'll return the favor and bring us donuts?
Oh, this is a selfish thing.
What's Acrisure going to do for us except maybe give the Kings a small forward? Like, not a lot, So I don't want them to do anything for us. It's just like hey, hello. If you see us in the hallway, say hi.
We're friends.
Okay. We're homies now.
Okay.
And maybe one day they'll sponsor the studio.
There we go.
There it is. There it is.
There it is.
You're handing over the donuts. You're like, also that parking spot right in the front. I normally park there.
I'm going to have to ask you not to park in the charging station. None of your people.
Is that you and the Gradients on Ultima? I'm going to need you. Here's a maple bar. So I think I'm going to get donuts for them. Because you're on donuts tomorrow, by the way. It's your donut day tomorrow.
Yeah, it's my donut day.
I'll stop and pick up a dozen for Acrisure.
Okay.
And then we, the donut committee, once we're both here, or once we're all here, Joe, welcome to the donut committee. Once we're all here, we can go present the donuts and explain, welcome to the building. We do donut Fridays on Thursdays.
Donut Fridays on Thursdays.
Yeah.
And I won't be here on Friday.
And you won't be here on Friday, right?
I'll be in Disneyland.
So we'll pull up on a Thursday. We'll do the little jokey joke that everybody knows, Donut Friday on a Thursday.
Yep.
And then welcome to the building. Here you go. We got to go prepare for our show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah. We're starting a rec league basketball team. We wanted to see if you guys wanted to hang out.
You guys hoop at all?
You guys hoop at all? You got some tall fellas in there. You hoop?
Yeah, you guys hoop. We also solved, Joe alerted me to this morning. There was apparently a mysterious purple beam or purple beams in the night sky last night.
Mm-hmm. People were noticing it last night. There's what looked to be like the beam just in, I think, Folsom area.
I had seen a green beam like the day before. Someone had posted a green. Like, what is this? I'm like, I don't know.
Could be the same company.
So it turns out, and again, our resident young person, Joe, hit me to this. The New Salt Laser International, which is the company that does the beam for the Kings. It turns out it's not a guy shoveling purple into a coal
This can't
oven
be how I
thing
find out.
underneath the arena. Turns out that's not actually a thing.
It's not the guy who steals all the purple socks?
Correct.
Okay.
It's apparently, allegedly, it's company New Salt Laser International. They're a Folsom-based company. They do the beam, and they are testing out an upgraded version.
Okay, so I hope that there's something other than like building a beam for the Sacramento Kings that this company does, because I just like their entire existence is based off of Vivek upgrading the beam every year. Man, I hope he's in for another 100 mil.
Oh my gosh, they do. They do need depth and size. They're completely in on it too.
Yeah,
I don't know what you guys think. Like, this looks like more, almost like a. It's not. It's like several small.
A symphony of beams.
Yeah,
I think that's what the beam is.
Is that
the
what
beam
it currently
is?
It
Like it
okay,
just
this
looks
is just
like
a different
a
angle.
column. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're testing out a new beams. So if you see more beams going up, that's why.
Okay.
Pause.
As someone who takes a picture between 40 and 48 times per season since the beam's existence, it does look like a small collection of beams that like I think it's amazing because it goes so high in the sky.
It's honestly it's insane.
It is.
It's not this little thing that like, oh yeah, you can see it from right outside the stadium. I was at Drake's barn one night and it's very clear.
Oh yeah.
You could super see it.
I mean, I kind of want to see if they can like line it up and like put artwork on the moon or something.
That's what they're probably working on.
Like a bat signal, but only different.
New Salt Laser International's got nothing else going on, apparently.
I hope that somebody else out there is like, hey, should we order one of those beams that the Kings have?
I want to know what
there's a company for that.
I wonder what. That's the brilliance of the beam thing to me. Here we go. It is objectively incredible.
Yeah.
And just now you did that. Like, the Kings own that. If any team tries to do anything similar to this, it's not going to hit the same.
No, it's just rip off.
Getting out in front of this is remarkable from the Kings. Okay, so you can book a laser show right now at newsaltlaser.com.
Okay.
Sick website too.
Book a laser show and get a second projector for free.
Oh.
So they do lasers, CO2 machines, holograms. They do holograms.
Will they do the thing on where they take like a picture of your house and build like the Halloween scenes that move around everywhere?
They might. You should hit them up and find out.
I would.
It looks like they do a lot of concerts.
Okay.
They do lighting for concerts and different shows.
Well, we stumbled upon
2017 Maxim party. Obviously, they were there.
If you really think about it, like everywhere you're at all the time, what goes into making like every like space, like it's just incredible.
New Salt Laser, a seasoning for your eyes.
Oh,
I mean, that's just
that's
so good.
That is good.
That's so
okay.
good. Shout out to New Salt Laser.
All right.
The Kings are getting a new beam. That's the moral of this story.
Should we actually start a show?
I mean, I guess so. I don't want to dive all the way. We've got a couple of minutes. I don't want to dive all the way into the playoff stuff just yet, because we had some pretty incredible games last night with the Pistons sneaking by the Knicks and forcing a game 6 in that series, 3-2. The Knicks lead heading back to Detroit. The Celtics blew out the Magic last night. That's one I'm watching close. The Magic are a team I'm watching close for the Kings.
Okay.
And we'll dive into that. The Nuggets mollywop the Clippers. The Clippers might just be cursed. The Clippers might, as just an organization.
Yeah.
Because this looked like a really good year for them. And the series isn't over. The Nuggets are up 3-2, but things not trending the right way for the Clippers. And the teams that have been eliminated, we're going to kind of go through their rosters and see, okay, is this team going to tear it down? Are they going to tweak their roster at all? Are there any pieces that the Kings might be able to go take advantage of? We will do that. We're going to give away $500. But we got to start with the Pacers-Bucks game. Because there are so many freaking layers to this game. So here's what we're going to get to when we get back. We have the Bucks blowing a 7-point lead in 40 seconds. Just astounding. You got to feel for Doc Rivers. You have Tyrese Halliburton's dad storming the court and trying to pick a fight with Giannis.
That was so weird.
A really weird thing that happened.
I really like John Halliburton too. Like, he's a good dude. That was wild.
An insane moment of behavior from Mr. Halliburton, but we'll talk about that. Thought it was overall handled really well. And then the summer of Giannis is I think finally here.
I think it's upon us.
The summer where he finally says, whether it's very loudly or quietly, he goes, "Hey, I'm done here."
When it's time.
And the dominoes that could fall from that. There's so much happening in the NBA, and I think this season is going to be a turning point. We'll tell you why. Coming up next. Plus, punishments have been doled out for the Shedeur Sanders prank. The A's get mollywopped, and we've got a couple of series that could come to an end tonight in the Western Conference. We'll dive into all of that in the next couple hours on The Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. James Ham's over there. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil's behind the glass. We're The Insiders, and we're on ESPN 1320. That is Sacramento Sports Leader. I can't tell in this photo if they're testing out if this is oh wait, hang on.
That looks like a Star Wars scene.
Right. I can't tell if they're testing out 2 separate beams or if they're working on a double beam.
I wonder if, yeah.
I think they're 2 separate beams because they look pretty substantially different.
I wonder if you can get one for your house. Just like
a mini one?
No, like a full size one.
Oh.
Just so when the beam hits in Sacramento, like it triggers additional beams all around the city.
There could be like a whole control room. Yeah.
That would be cool.
That'd be pretty dope. They just start lighting up around the city.
Talk about the beam and the chat
Just
goes sideways.
Goes
absolutely sideways.
It's ridiculous stuff. I'm not sure. We'll talk about it.
I don't know. Like, how would the Warriors pull that off?
I have no idea.
I mean, you give up whatever you have to, that's for sure, but
yeah. I think that there are other teams that make more sense.
Yeah.
The thing is I don't even know if Halliburton's dad's problematic. I think he just did a problematic thing.
Adam L. Any word on why Andrei Stojakovic is switching schools again? Problem with fit and coach. He was at Stanford, but they fired their coach. So then he went to Cal, and I don't think the exposure was there because Cal is like, they're in the big
ACC.
The ACC, but they're
powerhouse ACC school.
But they're kind of getting buried there, right? So I don't know. I don't know why he ended up in Illinois. I can probably check with his agent, but
I would assume there's a financial component as well.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that could be. I mean, he was really good in the ACC tournament, and maybe that got him. I'm just surprised he's not going into the draft and, at least going through the draft process, because that's what I was told early on that he was going to do.
Yeah.
I just think they feel like he's a second-round pick at this point.
So, Spencer.
And the Kings don't have a first-round pick, and he probably wants to come home.
Hello, Spencer.
Hello, Spencer.
Mando, you have no idea how badly I wanted to do 2 hours on this. Like, to the point that last night I was Googling primate specialists.
I was also looking into this a little bit yesterday.
I'm totally confused.
Oh, you're not online. Okay, so there's this ongoing debate for about a week now?
Yeah, about a week.
About whether 100 dudes could beat a gorilla in a fight.
Oh.
And it's this big debate.
I think the answer is probably no.
So the primate specialist that I was reading last night was like, the answers are resounding yes. People would die, but so would the gorilla.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you were going to bring on a primate specialist, or you were going to call somebody?
I was going to bring one.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
He's James, I'm Kyle, that's Joe. Jiffy Lube, of course, omnipresent. We love our friends at Jiffy Lube. ESPN 1320 AM on your radio dial, 98.5 FM HD2. If you were doing the HD radio thing, hello, everybody on YouTube and Twitch, everybody listening on the podcast and on the free Odyssey app. We appreciate each and every one of you. As badly as I want to do the one gorilla versus 100 dudes fight thing, we're going to put a pin in that. Because I think what we're seeing right now in the NBA postseason is I think the 24-25 NBA playoffs are a seminal moment for the league.
Okay.
Where you're getting really good series almost up and down the board. The Memphis series was a sweep, but Memphis was up big in game 3, and you had that incredible OKC comeback.
Okay.
And then the last game was a 2-point game in that series. You've had guys like Paolo Banchero and Anthony Edwards and Cade Cunningham starting to ascend.
Mm-hmm.
These young players, 25 and under.
Amen Thompson.
Amen Thompson's one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe a Sore Thompson. You're seeing that. You're seeing physicality and the benefit that brings. And that's sort of where I want to start. And then we'll get into kind of the player motion that may be catalyzed by this playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what you're seeing is officials are letting guys play almost to the point where it's detrimental in that Pistons-Knicks game where Tim Hardaway Jr. is getting fouled and there's no call at the end of the game.
That was horrible.
That was wild. But I think the reason that these games have been so good and so competitive, and the reason that people are watching them and tuning into them is because they're good and competitive, is because flopping isn't being rewarded. Offensive players going out of their way, doing non-basketball moves to draw contact is not being rewarded. And you're letting guys play defense, and the scores don't need to be 140 to 130 to make the game entertaining. They need to be competitive. They need to be physical. Make buckets hard to get. So when they are scored, it's like a feat. It's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the league's doing. And I think they're seeing a rise in popularity, at least in the immediate, because of it.
I like when playoff basketball hits, and I liked last season when they allowed playoff basketball to hit, like after
post All-Star break.
Post All-Star break. They did not do that this year. I thought it did the game a disservice.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it's a better brand of basketball. It just, when you watch physical play, you don't want to see the grabbing and the holding and all that stuff, but I am so done with the foul grifters. Like, I just can't stand watching the head fake and flail. And then the other thing that I like, just to be totally honest, there are certain refs that I don't think have any business being in the playoffs covering it. Like,
you're probably right.
Yeah. I was watching, part of the Orlando game yesterday, and watching Tony Brothers get angry with Paolo Banchero and run over at him like he was going to instigate something. Just come on, man.
Yeah. That's
First
crazy.
of all, there was
insane.
Over 9 minutes left in the third quarter when you called the fifth foul on Paolo Banchero. Nobody came to that game to watch the officials. And if you're going to have the physicality crank up, and every time Jaylen Brown goes to the basket, he gets a foul call, why are you singling out one player, one team? That's the thing that drives me bonkers.
Yep.
Call it even. And, we talked about how the Lakers have, what was the number, like 1,200 more free throws than any other than their opponent.
Ridiculous.
Over the last 3 years. Like, that's just garbage.
Yeah.
And like, the game should be called straight up. And if a guy gets fouled, he gets fouled. And there, like, I guarantee you, there are games where the Kings have way more foul calls than the other team. And a lot of those games, to be honest with you, it's because they're lazy, they're a step slow, they're grabbing, they're exhausted. You can see like there's a level of mental focus you have to have at the NBA level,
No doubt,
in order to be that physical
Mhm.
and to stay out of foul trouble. And to me, I just thought that game in itself, the Orlando game, watching Paolo Banchero sit on the sidelines for most of the game when he's so good,
Mhm.
and it's touch foul after touch foul. Like, why are you calling touch fouls there? But you watch every other playoff game and touch fouls aren't being called. It's just frustrating.
I prefer when the officials, because you're right. When a team fouls and it's because they don't have a good point of attack defender, and that defender's,
Yeah.
chasing and hacking and reaching and just doing whatever. Okay. But it's when they selectively decide, like you said, I prefer, I prefer that on the kind of questionable, like, did he get him? Did they not? I prefer when they don't call the foul. LeBron James, when he got Anthony Edwards on the wrist the other day, like, did he foul him? Letter of the law, totally got him on the wrist. But in the moment, they didn't call it, and it's like, good. Like, give the defense the benefit of the doubt sometimes.
Yeah,
like that's all I want. There are so many clean blocks in the NBA that get whistled as fouls, and now all of a sudden we have to go, okay, hang on, are they going to review it? Okay, now they're going to review it. Now they got to go to the monitor. I shouldn't say people. There are people who, because it's not a collective, there are people who sit there and they go, well, it's the 3-pointers. We need to eliminate the corner three. There's too many threes. That's a problem with the sport. No, it's not, dude. It's not. The problem with the sport is guys who, I don't want to start singling people out because there are so many guys who do it, but the guys who foul grift, who drive with the intention of throwing the ball in the air, throwing their head back and get a foul call. That's not the point. Fouls are there so when Tyrese Halliburton gets to the rim, if Giannis wants to come over and hack him to keep him from scoring, okay, you kept him from scoring, but he's going to get 2 free throws. That's the point of the foul calls are not there so you can pump fake from 3, and when the guy jumps past you to the side, you can jump to the side, run into him, and then throw the ball in the air. That's not the spirit of the sport.
Yeah.
That's not the point of the game. If you get fouled because you were too good for that defender, nice, you won that possession. If you get fouled because you had to flail your body in a different direction to generate the contact, that is not a foul. It stops the game. It stops the flow. It makes the games last forever. It gets you to the point where, like, man, I have a hard time. I think the Knicks are super talented. I think Jalen Brunson is incredible. I have a really hard time watching the Knicks during the regular season.
I have a hard time watching Jalen Brunson at all at this point, because all he does is like run and slam into somebody and then throw his body around and look at the official. Like, hey man, stop burying your shoulder into that guy's chest.
Yeah, you generated that contact.
Yes, every single time you're watching him generate the contact.
Yep.
And again, he's a great player.
He's amazing.
But at the same time, like, some of that stuff has to just be totally cleaned up.
And I think it has been during the postseason for the most part. Again, not 100%, but for the most part, the story of the postseason has not been foul calls, which I feel like it is a lot of the time during the regular season. Now we've seen non-foul calls.
Yeah,
become a thing.
Yeah, the Hardaway in the corner, that was a clear foul. That should have been
just totally egregious.
Yeah,
but it's this version of basketball where guys can be more physical, where defense is given the benefit of the doubt, where, man, buckets are a lot tougher to come by now. I think it's just a preferable thing to watch. And again, this is not to say that 70 games are 80 to 75 are better basketball, but it's still good basketball. It's just not being overtaken by free throws. We're not watching games with 60 plus free throws being taken.
Yeah. And I think someone says, why don't they, I don't know where that was in the chat. Why don't they call it the same way the entire season? And yeah, here we go from Noah. Why not call it that way all year? Why change halfway through? I agree to a certain extent, but at the same time, like, the NBA season is an 82 game grind, and you want to have the game be fun and out of control and like high scoring, crazy games all throughout the season. When it comes down to, like, who's the best team, Now I want to see it called straight up. And maybe that's weird that I would, I'm okay with teams that like the first half of the season, they're not real, but they sure are having a good time and everyone's excited to see it.
I agree with you.
Mhm.
And I think it takes away from it when that team runs into, we'll just say the Lakers. This is not to single them out, but they have the largest free throw disparity in the sport over the last couple of years. That fun team plays the Lakers, and all of a sudden the game is grinding to a halt because Austin Reeves is getting to the line 17 times, and Rui Hachimura is going to the line 8 times, and Luka's going to the line 12 times, and it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And that's all I want. Is if it's a foul, it's a foul.
Yeah.
All I want is for them to continue giving the defense a benefit of the doubt during the regular season. At least sometimes.
Yep.
And my hope is that the second half of last year into last year's playoffs, and then specifically this year's playoffs, where physicality. We've heard that about every single series.
Yeah.
Viewership is up. The games have, for the most part, been really good.
There's a couple of series that were just blowouts. The 1-8 series on both sides were just complete, like,
yeah.
What the Cavs did to the Heat was
really
just
bad.
Embarrassing.
Really bad.
And I hate to say this, are we just underestimating who the Cavs are? I mean,
hey, low key, we might be.
Yeah, it's very possible that the Cavs might actually be the best team in basketball. We're not giving them that credit yet because they haven't done it before. They haven't, made that be a playoff thing. But I do think that we might have overlooked them, and we're gonna have to wait and see what they look like. Can they get to the conference finals? But
yeah, it's just I don't think it's crazy to think they go to the conference finals. But I've been saying Boston all year because they just won the title, and Cleveland is like they still gotta prove it. The year Denver won the finals, I went into that postseason going, I gotta see them win a conference finals. Like I gotta pick them to win the final. They were the best team in the league that year, but I was like, I'm not gonna pick them because I haven't seen them do it yet. That's how I feel about Cleveland. I'm not denying how freaking good they are. I mean, they defend their asses off. That they have every answer offensively for anything you want to do defensively. They always seem to have an answer. But it's like, do you have those answers when the rubber meets the road and you're down 2-1 and it's a 5-point game in Boston with 5 minutes left? Can you execute in that spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think
maybe they can. I haven't seen it.
Boston right now, they have a little bit of what the Warriors had for years where they'll just kind of idle and hang out with the team. And then all of a sudden they just hit the gas and like, whoa, like you're gone.
They were down at half last night and won by 31.
Yeah. Like we were watching the game at the sports lounge.
Yeah.
We drove home. By the time I got home and turned the TV on, it was over.
Yeah.
It was like a super close game. Paolo Banchero picks up the foul, goes to the bench, game over.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was no continuing to coast and winning by 9.
No.
They just kind of put their foot on the gas, and that was it. Yeah, man. I'm hoping we get that Boston Cleveland conference semis though.
Yeah, but
excuse me, conference finals.
Yeah, I think so too. But Indiana made it there last year, and I saw, like I started early in the chat, and it could just be someone being Nick V, aka the most overrated player in the NBA, Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton is like there are times where I do think that he's overrated, but what he's doing right now in the playoffs and what he did last year in the playoffs, he's actually building a case for him to be an all NBA player and for him not to be overrated at all. And, we're watching a young player ascend like some of the other young players. He's not as young as the others, but man, he's come through. He hit the game winner. Yeah. I think he had 2 game winners in that series, right? I think there's one other that he hit. Like he had a 3 early on. Maybe I'm crazy, but yeah, he's been incredible. And then we have, like the end of the Bucks. It sure does look like the end of the Bucks, and it's Halliburton's group that is forcing that through.
So much happened in that Bucks game last night.
It was wild.
119-118.
Yep.
Pacers win. But the Bucks went ahead 118 to 118 to 111 with 40 seconds left in OT. AJ Green went to the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
Hits the first one to go up 118, 111, misses the next one. Then the Pacers go down and they get an and one, and then Gary Trent turns it over, and then they score again, and then Gary Trent turns it over, and then Tyrese hits the game winner over Giannis. And I love that they just cleared out and said, Tyrese, is your shot. And they went best on best for the series.
And
he executed
beat
perfectly.
Giannis to the basket,
Yep.
which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah. I think Giannis was playing him for some kind of step back, and he just went, nope, never hesitated, put his head down and went.
Yeah.
And man, that was unbelievable stuff from Tyrese Halliburton. So immediately after the game, if you missed it, these teams already don't like each other. They had beef going back to like the in-season tournament last year. And then there was the Giannis scored the most points in a game in Bucks history, I think.
Okay.
Or his career high, he had scored 62.
Okay.
But somebody on the Pacers scored their first NBA basket, and they took the ball.
Buddy Hield took the ball.
Was it?
It was Buddy.
Oscar Tshiebwe?
Tshiebwe. Yeah, Oscar Tshiebwe.
Is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
Scored a point. It was his first NBA point, so they took the ball. Giannis did not get it, and there was that whole kerfuffle, right? Then they go in the playoffs. Pacers
I forgot Buddy took the ball.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did.
Run, Buddy, run.
So they had that. They had the playoff series last year. Now they have this playoff series. So it's a game winner. And Tyrese Halliburton's dad, who was sitting courtside, not even sitting courtside, sitting like 2 rows up from courtside, as Giannis is trying to inbound the pass, like walks up behind him and is holding this like Tyrese Halliburton towel flag thing.
Yeah.
They inbound it. Gary Trent misses a 60-footer. Giannis is just kind of standing there, hands on hips at the free throw line, just taking it in, absorbing the loss. And Tyrese Halliburton's dad, John Halliburton, walks up to him. Good guy by all accounts.
Oh, I've met him multiple times. I've had tons of conversations
with him.
On the
radio, just a good dude. Walks up to Giannis and just starts, I guess, cursing at him. This is what we have to do, blah, blah, blah. This is according to Giannis after the game. And goes up and he's waving the flag in Giannis's face and talking trash. And you see Giannis like taking this all in. Like, who is this?
Yeah.
And what's happening here?
Why is this happening?
And they eventually started jawing, and then they get split up, and then there's more fisticuffs or another scuffle elsewhere with the two teams. I thought that entire situation, as out of hand as it could have gotten, was handled perfectly by all sides.
Except for John Halliburton.
Well, yeah, right. The post John Halliburton reaction was handled perfectly by all sides. Giannis, I'm not going to play the whole video because it's like 4 minutes long, but he had this really long, thoughtful answer about John Halliburton and the fact that he did that and
being respectful,
and that was disrespectful what he did. I was taught to be humble and winning and blah, blah, blah. But I thought Tyrese Halliburton's response was very good as well, because he could have very easily just been like, I didn't see it. I was celebrating with my teammates. I have no comment on that. Here's what Tyrese Halliburton said after the game. Joe, I know we got to go, but I want to play this before we get out of here, because I thought Tyrese Halliburton's answer was really good when asked about his dad getting in Giannis's face after the game.
As far as the incident between Giannis and my pops, I had no idea it happened until I got to the back and was showed the video. Me and my pops have talked about that, and I don't agree with what transpired there from him. I think basketball is basketball, and let's keep it on the court. And I think that he just got excited, saw his son make a game winner, and came on the court. But I think we had a conversation, and I think he just needs to just allow me to just play basketball, stay over there. I'll come to him to celebrate. But I think it's the emotions of the game just got excited there. But I talked with him. I'll talk with Giannis eventually about it. Just I don't think that my pops was in the right at all there, and unfortunate what happened in the end there. But I mean, this series was a lot of war of words, a lot of war of antics, a lot of stuff going back and forth, and that's just part of this rivalry and what we've built here over the last couple of years. And it's unfortunate what happened there, but
I think that's the right thing.
Yeah.
He could have so easily been like, I didn't see it. I was in the back. I'll look at it. And just saying my pops was not on the right there.
No, it's
I'm going to talk to him. He's got to stay over there. I'm going to talk to Giannis. I thought that was handled really well.
no, I think so too.
Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton. We'll talk more about that because I don't know what the NBA does now. You can't ban him from games, right?
I don't think so.
I saw somebody suggest maybe banishing him to a suite. Like
Okay.
you just can't sit courtside, or banishing him to the second level.
You just have to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think he's someone who's going to become a problem.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about the playoff games that happened last night. The summer of Giannis is also nigh. Should the Kings get involved? We'll talk about it next. James Ham's there. I'm Kyle Madsen. He's Joe Brazil. We're the Insiders. And Jiffy Lube sponsors this program. It's ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Center. Boop.
What's going on, everybody? If you guys don't mind, if you're in the chat, can you hit the thumbs up button for us? Please. It'd be greatly appreciated.
They'll do something, man. You can't have a fan. That's a fan
Yeah.
going onto the court and accosting a player.
I don't think. What did they do with T. Morant? Because he did.
He still sits courtside.
Yeah, he still sits courtside. I think, and again, like I've had a lot of conversations like in the past with John Halliburton, like whether it's via DM or like meeting him, like walking around the concourse and just having conversation. He's a super, super good dude. And he's not a big dude. He's like, I don't know where Ty gets his height, but you know, it just that's super out of character, just like caught up in the moment type move right there.
Yeah, and as far as action, I'm guessing the league, they might put out some statement and say, you know, I don't even know if you suspend him or you just put out a statement and very quietly be like, all right, you got to sit 10 rows up or you get a warning and whatever happens next, or if it happens again. Yeah. I don't think it needs to be anything dramatic. But also the reason the league needs to come out and do something is to ensure that everybody knows that they don't just let this happen. Like that's whether they announce he will not be allowed to sit in the first 10 rows or whatever. I don't know. I don't think they need to do all that, but they need to make it clear that they reviewed the incident and had some response. Will, you ever sat courtside? I gotta tell you.
What's that?
If given the option between sitting in a suite or sitting courtside, I would sit courtside 100 times out of 100. It's not even a question.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I was done with it. I don't. Zero question. Not even close.
Oh, yeah.
It's
it's not even remotely close. Like I sat courtside at Arco. They had 3 tables set up across from the visitors bench. I sat there for 3 years and covered games from like literally on the court.
Yes.
Best seats in the house.
It's
not just the like seeing the players up close and personal, like and watching it so close. It's all of the banter. It's the weird stuff you see. I think I've said this before. Like Matt Barnes yelled at like Griffin.
David Griffin.
No.
AJ Griffin.
No. Human highlight reel.
Dominique Wilkins?
Blake Griffin.
Oh.
He yelled at Blake, "Hey Blake, you got any bubble gum?" And Blake's like, "Yeah." Reaches down into his sock, has a pack of bubble gum in his sock, throws it over to Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes takes a piece, throws it back to him. He tucks it back in his sock. Now he's got like just watching the stuff that happens on the court and just the weirdness of all of it, like absolutely spectacular.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What a take.
3 years I sat next to Aileen Voice on the sidelines.
Ten seconds.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Oh, hi there. I'm Kyle. That's Joe Brazil behind the glass. James Ham's over there. We're hanging out with you till noon. We're giving away $500 in the next hour, by the way.
That's awesome.
Gave away $500 yesterday. We're going to give away $500 today.
Do we know who won yesterday?
We don't, because the people responsible for letting us know that are not in the building because they are beautifying our community.
That's right.
Salute to everybody who's not in the office today because they are out picking up trash along a riverbank somewhere. I didn't read the email because I saw it was 9 to noon.
Yeah.
Which is a no-go for us, obviously.
Of course.
We're there in spirit.
We are. We're rooting them on from the Odyssey Studios, from the complex here in Roseville.
Is that what this is now? Is it the complex?
Nah,
no, we're just testing things out.
Yeah,
okay.
we're just kind of.
It sounded smooth. That didn't sound bad.
All the people here at the presets. Nah, didn't like it. Didn't like it. Complex is winning so far. 916-909-1320, 916-909-1320. The Oak Grove Kia Talk line. And Mitch in New Jersey is on the line. What's up, Mitch?
Hello, Kyle, James.
What's
Hope
going on?
everything's cooking well, doing well. You guys?
Doing great.
I'll take the $500. I don't have a long last name, so it should be easy, right?
ESPN1320.com. Enter the code word there and be part of the Jump Shot Jackpot giveaway, Mitch, courtesy of Folsom Lake Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. What's up?
Hey, not that many. I'm in and out of the house. I can't be tweeting and texting and email. But anyway, that is like such high school stuff. I mean, your son won the series. What could he have been getting into his face? Just ask him trouble. So he's worse than LeVar. And with the Lakers, this Redick, he's never played a whole half without a break. How can they do that stuff? Even the Kings coaches give our guys a break, the starters. And if they don't win today, it's his own fault because that roster was constructed poorly. Plays 4 minutes and he's tired? Come on.
Yeah.
I would take Plumlee now.
Oof. Thanks for the call, Mitch. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, man. The Lakers only playing 5 guys the entire second half. Mitch said it. Their roster's not good.
Yeah,
they have JJ Redick did that because he thought that it gave them the best chance to win. And they wound up being a couple of steps slow late in the game. And I think that's what happens when you have a 40-year-old and a guy who was traded for peanuts because he wasn't in shape. You if we're keeping it a stack, like that's why I didn't say it was the right thing. That's what they did it though. I didn't say it's right.
No, I'm with you.
Dude, that's what they said. They said this guy's not in shape, and then they played him an entire second half. It's like, yeah, man, the players who are in good shape are going to struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason people don't do it. But I think Redick looked down his bench and go look down the Lakers bench. Is there somebody where you were like, man? And I know people go, you give LeBron and Luka a minute before the TV timeout, then they get the TV timeout. And then you bring them back, they get a few minutes, and you've only spent a minute. But I think JJ Redick's calculus there we could lose that minute by 9 points.
No, I think Jerry Sloan was the absolute like king of stealing minutes for his players.
Mhm.
So he had a system where he would sit John Stockton down the last like 2 minutes of the third quarter, but then he'd call the TV timeout, sit him,
Mhm.
and then you get the quarter break, and by the time it's all said and done, it's like a 7 or 8 minute period of rest,
Mhm.
and then you start the fourth quarter and go.
And it was 2 minutes of game time?
Yeah, and he only
Yeah.
missed 2 minutes of game time for like 8 to 10 minutes of actual rest.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I think that you might want to do if you're JJ Redick. But here's the problem. It's the same problem that we talked about early in the season with Malik Monk and going in the starting lineup. Mike Brown, I think, said it perfectly. He's like, okay, well, if I start my 5 best players, and they don't have it, what's next? Like, I don't have another pitch. So, like, what am I supposed to do if I start the 5 best players
Mhm.
and we're down 12? Like, there's nothing else to go to on the bench. And I think with Redick, this is him trying his best to figure things out,
Mhm.
but also, like, there is going to be some sort of learning curve for him as a head coach.
Yeah, I think so. But I'm not going to put this on if they lose this series, I'm not putting it on that.
No, probably not.
Because look, here's LeBron, Luka, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, Dorian Finney-Smith were their 5 that played the whole second half. Here's who didn't play. Jackson Hayes.
Okay.
Are we clamoring for Jackson Hayes minutes?
No. Although he's had moments where he's affected, but
yes, he played 4 minutes in that game total. So I don't know if this is the series for him. But, and I understand, like, get a minute, you can survive a minute, but it's Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent, Jordan Goodwin, and Jared Vanderbilt.
Oh, yeah. Even Dalton Connect, you're not going to put Connect
He didn't
into
play
that
at
game.
all.
No. I
So
mean,
it's like
Alex
it's not,
Len.
And so, like I said, I understand that you can give them 1 minute of game time and get them 6 or 7 minutes of actual rest where they can, catch their breath and then get back out. But I think JJ Redick was so concerned that if he removed LeBron and or Luka for any substantial amount of time, that they were going to lose that game, and they ended up losing it by 3.
Yeah, that's tough.
If they're a -5 in that minute without one or both of those guys, they have a worse chance of winning. So
You're 30-something games in, though, to the Luka LeBron era. You've got to find role players on your bench that you can at least put out there for a couple of minutes to break things up.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just I understand. I don't believe that they lost the series because he did that. I think I think they're going to lose the series because they're a worse team.
Yeah, because they're not good enough.
Right. That's it. So my point
Yeah.
is, and again, I'm responding to Mitch, who said that the Lakers are going to lose this series because JJ Redick played 5 guys in the second half. I think if he didn't, they lose that game by more points. Is my thesis.
Yeah. No,
Instead of a 3-point loss, they have a 9-point loss.
I don't disagree. I just think that, again, at a certain point, even, to pull back a little bit, JJ Redick as a role player in the NBA, like, sometimes he was an elite role player, but still a role player. He should have a way to, by this point in the season, build 1 or 2 guys up that should be able to step up in that moment and be a good role player for you, so your starters don't have to play the entire game.
They have Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
You can't just be JJ. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that game 5 of that series is tonight in LA.
And it's 3-1.
3-1 Timberwolves.
Yeah.
It's so weird. The 6 seed is up 3-1 on the 3 seed. The 7 seed is up 3-1 on the 2 seed.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming, did we?
Very odd.
Yeah.
It's like every series in the West is like a 4-5. There's the actual 4-5 matchup. And then the 3-6, that could very easily be a Lakers win tonight and they're going back to Minnesota for game 6.
Yeah.
The Rockets could very easily win tonight and they're going back to Chase Center for game 6. Like, these are all playing more like 5-4 series.
Yeah.
And then you've got the East, where the Celtics dispatch the Magic in 5. Cleveland got the Heat out of here in 4. The Pacers in the 4-5
Yeah.
got the Bucks out of here in 5. Detroit took it to 6.
Yeah. Detroit, hey, they're
I
fun,
love
man.
I love Detroit, dude.
They're fun, and they're learning. This is so valuable for them.
Big time.
Just like even if the Rockets lose the series to Golden State, this is so valuable to them.
Yeah.
Like everything that's happening right now, this is absolutely, it is exactly what has to happen.
Yep.
You've got to learn how to play. You've got to learn how the physicality works. You've got to learn how to, stop a superstar.
Yep.
Like all of these things are just like invaluable for this team.
That's how I'm taking my loss in Underdog Daily Fantasy last night. That was a valuable loss for me, and I'm learning with their pick'em game. You pick higher or lower on at least 2 player stats, and then you can win up to 1,000 times your money. I was a big loser last night, but you know what? You lose last night. That's what's great about the playoffs is you get right back on the horse, and you play the next night.
That's right.
I had AJ Green lower than half a point in the first quarter. He started for the Bucks last night and scored 6 in the first quarter. I had Contavious Caldwell-Pope lower than 6.5 points. He started with 8 and then didn't score the rest of the game. He started 3 of 5 and finished 3 of 9. Come on, man. OG Anunoby did go higher than 16.5 points thanks to an insane, deep, contested 3 he hit late in the game. Got into 19, but still just 1 out of 3. That's not going to be a winner, but I'm going to try and win again tonight. I'll have a lineup for you coming up in a little bit. Before I give you that lineup, though, join me on the Underdog app. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code KYLEM. That's KYLEM to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code KYLEM. KYLEM. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/extend.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. NBA playoff fallout. How could it help the Kings? We'll tell you next. James Ham's there. I'm Kyle Madsen. That's Joe Brazil. Second hour coming up on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader. Clip. Katrina said one of the wildest things I've ever seen in the chat.
Oh, no.
That was insane.
I've not been watching
I'm not
the chat.
even going to.
Yeah, Sac State's making some moves, man.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, the Shaq thing, I mean, it keyed off them signing, Mikey Williams and then a whole bunch of other decent top tier athletes.
It is so funny going from, because again, the reason I chose Sac State is because I went to a baseball camp at Sac State 2 summers. Mm-hmm. 2 or 3 summers, whatever. And I loved the school. I loved the campus. I loved the area. I was like, cool. They have a radio station. I'll go to Sac State. And I always felt like it was just, unless you're from the area, you just don't know Sac State. Seeing random people who I've followed on Twitter forever for basketball stuff tweeting about Sac State is so weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Like Shams Charania tweeting Sac State stuff. Was it on 3 Sports? Tweeting about what's his name, Mikey Williams?
Yeah, Mikey Williams.
Choosing Sac State because of Mike Bibby and Shaq?
Well, Mike Bibby, Shaq, and I don't know if you saw Sean Cunningham's report.
I did not.
$200,000 in NIL money.
They have $200,000 to give people.
That's right.
They have an NIL collective.
They do.
It's like Kenny and some other people.
I thought the portal was already closed, and like you had until a certain date to spend your NIL money, and if you don't spend it by that point, then you can't spend it. Like I was a bit like caught off guard by how that whole thing works. Jason Siebenthal, we probably will never do a Kings Beat podcast live at Sac State. Couple of reasons. Number 1, I went to UC Davis. Number 2, my 2 partners, I do not believe went to Sac State either. So nothing against Sac State. We're just not.
I'll do a live broadcast from Sac State, and you can be here.
There you go.
I'll go hang out with the Hornets.
Just go hang out. Be stingers up.
Shout out to Ryan Bjork in the athletic department. I had such a good ass time working at Sac State, dude. Just broadcasting baseball and softball and doing radio shows. Hour number 2. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil on the ones and twos. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube, and this is The Insiders, hanging out with you till noon. Then we'll hand it off to D-Lo and KC. Salute to everybody listening on 1320 AM or on 98.5 FM HD2. Anyone listening on the free Odyssey app, watching on YouTube, watching on Twitch, or if you're listening to the podcast, the James Ham and Kyle Madsen Show, available wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for consuming this content. What were we talking? Oh, I wanted to shout out real quick. I meant to do this yesterday. I don't even know how to go about this because I got a letter yesterday.
Oh, that's right.
I got a letter, but it's from a listener's partner. It wasn't from a listener. And the person I got this letter from, and I don't want to, I'm going to View was the last name, I think.
Okay.
View or Vu?
Okay.
Vue? I don't know. View. I'm just going to go with View. Was the last name. And they sent me a letter saying that they are a huge fan of Stray Kids, the K-pop group that I like very, very much.
That's right.
They're also a stay. Stray Kids everywhere all around the world. Shout out. So they sent me a letter with some like stickers and this really cool little it's like a zine. It's like a little photo book for their world tour that's going on right now. Really, really dope. And I appreciate it very much. And I meant to shout them out yesterday, and then we got sidetracked with the Doug Christie stuff. So salute. If that is your partner, tell them thank you very much, and they will be receiving a letter back in the mail.
Oh, you're going to send a letter back.
Yeah,
You're going to have a pen pal.
Yeah. No, I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm not going to go that, but I want to return the favor of giving away free stuff.
I'm here.
I've stuff at home to give away, K-pop stuff at home to give away.
All right.
Yeah. Salute. Anyways, I wanted to get that out of the way because, like I said, I meant to do it yesterday. That was a super kind thing, and I appreciate it so much. All right. Hey, do you want to give away $500 just right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to just do it now?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to do it now. Joe, we're calling an audible. We're doing it now. Welcome to the Jump Shot Jackpot giveaway, courtesy of Folsom Lake Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the big guy, Vince Bloom. We are giving away $500. We did it all last week. We're doing it all this week. We had a winner yesterday.
Okay.
And it could be your chance to win today. We're going to give you a keyword now. D-Lo and KC will give you a keyword later. That's 2 opportunities to enter the Jump Shot Jackpot giveaway on ESPN1320.com. James, do you have the word ready?
I think
Don't
so.
say it yet.
I do.
Okay, it's on the sheet at 11:20. You got it? You got it down there? Okay,
yep.
Perfect. It's Wednesday. Don't forget. So, it's a good thing you did that because I have the wrong word written down.
Oh.
Is that why you didn't look at the rundown?
No.
I did not change it.
Oh, see, I don't even see it on the rundown.
It's at 11:20.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I had that. That's yesterday's word. It's fine. ESPN1320.com is the website. Jump Shot Jackpot giveaway. Go enter this keyword right now.
The keyword is dunk.
Dunk.
D-U-N-K. Dunk. A slam dunk.
Can you do that again, Joe? Let's watch Joe. Yeah, nice.
Joe
There
dunked.
That was for the viewing audience. Joe just did a dunk for us. D-U-N-K. Enter that at ESPN1320.com. It's a Jump Shot Jackpot giveaway, courtesy of Folsom Lake Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the big guy, Vince Bloom. That is your first opportunity to enter. You can enter again later when D-Lo and KC give you another different word.
That's right. Joe had
Give
some
yourself-
big Teen Wolf energy going on
Yeah,
in
he
there.
did. Yeah, he did.
Above the brim,
Yeah.
like way up high.
Bring that mustache back and we'll be going full Teen Wolf.
I'll think about it.
Please.
Absolutely.
Please, I would love that so much. It'd be my favorite thing.
You know, I heard the 90s stash with the early 2000s hair. That has kind of stuck with me. It's so true. It's so true. So I need to make up my mind. If I'm doing the stash, I don't think I can do the Bieber hair. I'm getting Uncle Rico vibes big time.
What's wrong with that?
So
You could star in White Lotus. I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
That shook me, bro.
That shook. That's crazy, isn't
The
it?
fact that Uncle Rico is Greg from the White Lotus.
Greg or Gary from White Lotus.
Oh, Greg, or is it Gary?
I think it's Gary. Like the second time. You remember he has he goes by 2 different names.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Shook me.
Absolutely
I
crazy.
said Bieber hair.
Oh, Chatty House
Justin
is
Bieber.
having its time. What a nightmare this has become. Oh, Joe.
I love you so much, Joe.
Appreciate it.
You're
Oh my gosh.
All right. Wow.
Serious radio show. All right, let's get this show back on the road.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
James Ham's there, Joe Brazil behind the glass. I'm Kyle Madsen, and the NBA postseason. It feels like a seminal moment for the NBA. A lot of things are going to hinge on the results of this postseason.
Yes.
There's the popularity factor, which we talked about. Like, this is just the style of basketball that people want to watch. It's not three-pointer related. I promise it's not the number of threes that go up. It's jarring to watch, but that's not the reason I think people are tuning out. I think people are tuning out because it gets boring when there's foul grifting and there's a million free throws and there's no game flow. That, I think, is a larger problem than the uptick in three-point shots taken. Now, the other reason I think this is going to matter. Did you have something on that? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
The other reason this is going to matter is because I think you're going to see you're seeing two separate. You're seeing ascensions from teams like Houston,
Yeah.
Detroit,
Cleveland.
You're getting teams like the Magic who might be hitting a little bit of a ceiling with their current group. So what little tweaks do they make? And then I think you're seeing teams who are, for lack of a better term, are going to have to tear it down. I don't think the Grizzlies are going to be able to move forward with their current roster.
No, they're shot.
And they are not a couple of tweaks away.
No.
They are, I think, in a space where they need to reset what they're doing there. Because somebody brought this up a while back. The Ja Morant era Pistons have won one playoff series.
Wait, the Ja Morant era
I'm
Grizzlies.
sorry, Grizzlies, not
You
the
threw
Ja
me
Morant
for-
era Pistons. The spoiler alert on what we're going to talk about later. No, the Ja Morant era Grizzlies have won one playoff series.
Yeah.
They went to the Western Conference semis in the 21-22 season.
Well, I mean, like, look, I think you can, sort of look at them in the same way that you look at the De'Aaron Fox era Kings. Like, it worked, but it didn't work. You won some games, but you also didn't ever, move on and become what you should have become. And so it's tough, but I mean, that's how we judge teams. It's how we judge players.
Yep.
It's about where you get, how far you get in the playoffs, how far can you take a team? Are you a championship? Are you a 1A on a championship contending team? Can you bring home the prize? Again, Nikola Jokic didn't win 3 consecutive MVPs because he hadn't won a championship yet. Doesn't get the MVP, goes and wins a championship, and then everyone's like, "Oh, we made a mistake," and gave him the next year. Yeah. I mean, that's it. It is about how you perform in the playoffs, and to be honest, at this point, some of these teams need to be broken up.
I think you're going to see that with the Grizzlies. I certainly think you're seeing it with the Bucks.
The Bucks, as we know them, are done.
I can't. At least you'd imagine so. Giannis needed them to do more, right? He said he was very open about, I want to make sure that they're doing the things that it takes to win. Their biggest moves since then have been acquiring Damian Lillard, which was an abject disaster. And then he tore his Achilles. And then they traded Chris Middleton. Again, not that Chris Middleton was a great player anymore, but they traded him for Kyle Kuzma, and that was an abject disaster.
Yeah.
The things they did to go, okay, hey, here's a little tweak. It didn't work. And their roster is not in a space where they're going to go, like, no, you can't trade Damian Lillard now. Their roster is not in a space where they're going to go make these monumental moves that suddenly push them back into the contender tier. I think Giannis is going to ask out because
I'm a winner.
I think he is a winner, but you can't say that and lose in the first round 3 straight years.
3 years in a row, dude.
And I know sometimes he was injured for part of that. Again, the Damian Lillard thing. But man, that team, they owe Damian Lillard $58.5 million next year and $63.2 the next year. Like, Damian Lillard might not play again.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about like a 35 going on 36 or whatever he is, and he just popped his Achilles.
And he's a small guard.
Yeah, and like that's not good at all. So if I'm him, I am quietly asking out this summer, or
Mhm.
maybe not quietly, just saying, hey, look, I did everything I can do to be the star of
Yeah.
a. I don't want to call Milwaukee a small, but it is a small market
A
team.
not big market.
Yeah, it's a mid market, I guess. Like, and for them to not be able to put the team around him to continue to have their success,
Mhm.
and part of it isn't their fault. Part of it is that the wheels fell off Chris Middleton
Mhm.
and now Damian Lillard. Now you traded for Damian Lillard when he was older, so you can't really say, hey, that's a mistake. But some of the other problems is they just kept bringing back guys like Brooke Lopez, and they just keep stacking up the older players. At some point you needed to bring in some sort of youth to invigorate that team, and they just haven't made the right moves, and so it's tough.
I think that's, you mentioned the last couple of years where they got eliminated in the first round and Giannis was either available or injured.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they weren't able to put enough talent to still scratch out a series win.
Yeah, when they were like the number 2 seed.
They were the 1 seed and they lost to the Heat.
Yeah.
Like that's I know that what Jimmy Butler did down there with the Heat was incredible with Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero and them. But that's a team that Milwaukee should have had the talent to beat, even with Giannis not playing a couple games. Like that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the reason he's going to ask out.
Well, that, and I mean, you brought up the Kuzma situation, right? And they've got Kuzma under contract at 21.8 next year and 19.8 the year after, like declining scale contract.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this so many times where I was totally out on Kyle Kuzma forever, because anyone who will take money from the worst team in the league over a team like the Kings are a team on the rise 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Kuzma had offers to join the Sacramento Kings, turn the Kings down to take the same money to play for Washington,
Mm-hmm.
who had no chance of being good at all. If you can't see that, if you can't just run a simulation on 2K and go, oh, that team won 21 games, that's not good, then that's on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to get him to the Bucks, the stink of being on the worst team in the NBA, it's just all over him. And you cannot like scrub. I mean, I don't know how you fix Kyle Kuzma as a player, but I'm not the team looking to fix Kyle Kuzma anymore, where I thought there was a point where Kyle Kuzma might have worked for the Kings. And I kept saying it was a contractual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like his contract was so good. And the Kings were so desperate for a 6'8", 6'9", 3-4 combo guy.
Mm-hmm.
That you're like, okay, maybe that would work. No, I ain't touching that. Like, no way.
Do you know? So he got to Milwaukee and his averages were right about where they were in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
He actually shot it pretty significantly better in Milwaukee. Do you know what he did in the playoffs?
No.
He shot 34.3% from the field. He shot 20% from 3. He shot 50% from the free throw line. He averaged 5.8 points, 2.2 boards, and 0.8 assists.
That's
so bad. He's just a non-factor. So yeah, I expect Giannis to opt out. And let me just get in front of this. The Kings should be in on if there's a Giannis sweepstakes, the Kings should be one of the 29 teams who call Milwaukee about it.
Of course.
And if and when we dive into this discussion, there is nothing that is off the table.
No.
He is a player where everything in those, again, because as the summer rolls on and this will come back up, there's no player on the Kings. There is no asset the Kings have that I'm going, no, that's a deal breaker for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
No, not only players, but picks.
Yes.
I don't care.
You call, you find out, okay, what players do you want? Okay, let's make that money work. Great. Okay, now what picks do you want? Okay. You want another? Okay, so 4 first. Oh, and you want all the pick swaps? Cool. Yes, take it all. And you figure it out with one of the 3 best players in the league on your team.
No, I totally agree. And Giannis is under contract for the next 3 years. He's at 57.6, 62.2, and then 66.8 is a player option in 27-28. So you're buying at least 2 years of Giannis and potentially more. So that's a lot.
Yes. And that's a bargain for him.
Now you need to create a team that he can succeed on.
Yeah,
right?
No doubt. But you'd rather have to build around that guy then piece together some version of this roster.
No, I would agree.
So I just wanted to, like I said, I don't know that I might be talking to a straw man right now, but when this inevitably comes up again,
Yep.
There's no deal breakers on the Kings. There's no.
Oh, of course.
I saw Rockets fans talking about it last night, and somebody was like, "Well, Amen's off the table." They were like, "The hell with that! Amen is on the table for this."
Yeah, I mean that's like you're gonna want to keep some guys around for sure, but at the same time, like it's just such a game changer. I mean, it sells tickets, it sells everything.
Yes,
yeah,
man. So
I'm in,
like
Kyle.
I just wanted to get out ahead
there
of
is not
any discourse about like, well, Keegan can't be in it. Like,
well, they asked for Keon Ellis. It's like,
right.
Sorry,
cool.
Sorry, bro. Keon. You're on your way to Milwaukee.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, not that we don't love those guys, but man, that'd really be something.
Yeah, it'd be a franchise changer. I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. We'll go back through some other NBA playoff stuff from last night because there were some interesting takeaways from those games, and we'll look ahead to tonight. Warriors, Rockets, Timberwolves, Lakers. Do we see any more playoff series? And tonight, impossible fallout for the Kings. We'll get to that as well. James Ham, I'm Kyle Madsen. That's Joe Brazil. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320, and now the voice guy is going to say the same thing.
Yeah, we're not really to the fantasy stage, Rob Nacho. But we're just saying, like, look, if there is a point where Giannis Antetokounmpo is available, he should be like, I don't know if he's going to give a list of teams that he would go to.
Yeah, he's going to. In reality, he's going to wind up with the Knicks or the Rockets, or maybe Brooklyn. Maybe
no, because Brooklyn's just so far away from anything. I mean, they don't even have players at all, unless you're going to go out and acquire him and a bunch of other things. Yeah. So,
but that's where I think he's. I don't.
Well, the Clippers. I can see the Clippers making a run.
But we're here to talk about sports, so we're going to talk about them.
Yeah. Thanks, Norm. Yeah, if you guys are in here and you don't mind, hit the thumbs up button. Mon-Fri, there is no trade that brings Giannis to Sacramento. I don't totally agree with that. I mean, the Kings have 9 first-round picks moving forward. I mean, they literally could trade a 26, a 27, a 28, 30, 32, 31. I mean, they could stack picks. Yeah, we're not saying it's happening. I'm not saying it's happening. But I do know that, like, the way that the Kings work, that they're going to call.
It's a fun thought exercise, guys. Jesus, we didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't say it's gonna be.
Aldrin J. Yeah, you would take a chance on Jonathan Kuminga because he's so young, but at the same time, it's got to be the right situation.
What happened?
Someone asked if we would take a chance on Jonathan Kuminga. There we go.
If you're tearing it down and rebuilding, yes. or if you're comfortable letting him run your second unit and he's just your sixth man.
I think there are ways in which he works. There's just not ways in which he works with the Golden State Warriors.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, it's us and Joe Brazil. I understand the Kings aren't trading for Giannis. Probably not.
Probably
it's
not.
just a thought experiment, a thought exercise.
Yeah.
We're just we're just yapping.
Yeah, we might as well talk about it. I mean,
professional yappers.
We have fun over here.
Yeah.
There's a good possibility that entire Bucks team is blown up. Like whatever they can do to blow it up. I don't know. Like, I'm definitely calling on Bobby Portis. Outside of that, I don't know.
Okay, let's do this. I have a list. Let's start with the Grizzlies, who were the first team eliminated. They were swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder in 4 games. Not even a gentleman's sweep.
Nope.
Just a double birds all the way sweep. So, given how Jake LaRavia looked with the Kings, I would take almost anybody that Memphis will trade.
Okay.
I mean that pretty genuinely. I'm out on Triple J. John Morant is in a different bucket.
Okay, so
but any of their anyone from the Grizzlies, John Conchar, I'm in. I'll take him.
Oh, I love John Conchar.
Sure, Santi Aldama. They want to trade Santi Aldama. Yeah, let's go. Go get Santi Aldama.
Oh yeah, Santi Aldama could be a game changer for the Kings.
He's probably a guy they would want to try and build around. But I will take anyone and everyone the Grizzlies want to trade.
No, I totally agree. I mean, Santi Aldama is the guy that I would probably circle and say, hey, is there a way to get him? 6'11" power forward, can really shoot the ball. And I think, again, he would be a perfect fit type player alongside Domas. He doesn't block shots, so that's going to be a problem. And I would say the same thing, too. Like, neither one of us are huge fans of Jaren Jackson Jr., but I think I would take Jaren Jackson Jr., the prototype player, to go alongside of Domantas Sabonis. We're talking about Joe's got 2 thumbs up. No, we're talking about a 6'10" defensive-minded dude who can shoot the 3, and he doesn't rebound at all, but that's okay. You have the best rebounder in the league. If your front line was Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, and Jaren Jackson Jr., you're winning 50+.
Great. And do you have to watch Jaren Jackson every night?
No, that's true.
Joe, why you went thumbs up on Jaren Jackson? Why?
I think he said everything perfectly. I think.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Of course.
Keep going.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, he might not be crazy rebounder, but we need the size. I mean, that is at the minimum, at the bare level. Like, we need the size. And I think he has potential to be a great defender. And we have a guy like Sabonis rebounding already. I'm in on him. I've always thought he's young. I think he's a great player. Truly.
Right.
He won the Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, and, again, he averaged, it's crazy. He averaged 2.3 blocks, 3 blocks, and then the last 2 seasons, 1.6 and 1.5. So his block totals have trailed off dramatically. But that's the type of player that, again, you look at when we talk about like Jabari Smith Jr., I would love to get Jabari Smith Jr. from the Houston Rockets because I think Jabari Smith Jr. is the perfect type of player to put alongside Domas. It's just the right style of player. We're talking about shot blocking. We're talking about some rebounding. We're talking about floor spacing. And is he a perfect player? Absolutely not. But you could see a player growing into like a really, really strong role with the Kings. And the Kings just don't have that type of player. And what they've tried to do is make Keegan Murray that type of player. I'd much rather have a 6'11" version that can block shots, 6'10", 6'11", and slide Keegan Murray over to the 3. And that is how you protect Domantas Sabonis. And it's how you support Zach LaVine.
If you can get him to stop taking 5 threes a game, I think we're cooking.
Yeah, but it doesn't work with their team for him to take that many threes. if Domas is
He
standing
shoots
in,
every three like it's a full court heave.
oh no, I agree, but he hit 37.5% of them. Like, I get what you're saying, but I'm gonna say again, he would look different with Domantas Sabonis next to him. And maybe it's a whole, what is it? Miles Turner. Maybe it looks the same as Domas and Miles Turner, but I don't think so. I mean, it's possible, but that's still, it's the type of player that you want to put alongside Domas.
I think the reason that argument lands for me is A, I think you're right, and B, if he's available.
Mhm.
Because Memphis might be going, no, this guy's 20, what is he, 26, 25,
26? Yeah.
He's 26 next September, so he's entering his age 26 season. They might go, this guy's just entering his prime. We believe all the things that you just said, and we want to build around him. We're going to try and move Ja and restart this rebuild around a Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson duo and try and get a third guy. Maybe that's what they do. But
yeah.
If they do make him available, because you've said for however long we've been doing this show, you need a shot blocker, who the ideal next to Domas, rim protector who can space the floor offensively. There are not that many dudes in the league who do that, and Jaren Jackson's one of them.
He's probably the
biased,
best at it.
I think you're probably right. As biased as I am against him as a player, just because I find him to be an abysmal watch from the team fit perspective, I think you're probably right.
Well, that, and
but I'm going to hate it. I'm not going to have a good time with it.
The other thing is Jaren Jackson Jr. is due a huge extension this summer, but he's not extended yet. And so his outgoing contract is $23.4 million for next season. That's nothing.
That's about DeMar.
Again, that's DeMar DeRozan and 3 first-round picks. And maybe that's something that they listen. It depends on what Memphis is doing. If they want to tear down or they want to build around Desmond Bane and him. I don't know.
Keep in mind, we're having a summer conversation in April right now, end of April right now, just because these teams are out. We'll have to very much see, because Memphis might come out and go, nope, we're committed to this.
Yeah, this is what we're doing. We want to build around these 3 players, him, Desmond Bane, and John Morant, and move on from there. Yeah, because they had all the tumult with their coach and stuff. Maybe they talked themselves into it. John Morant's the interesting one for me. Okay.
Because I see the vision. I am fully aware of how freaking awesome Ja Morant is. But I think what you would have to pay to get him, I think you're probably starting a little bit from maybe square 2, not square 1. And I don't know that he's reliable enough and that level of player to go, we're going to mortgage our entire future to make sure that we're building around this guy. Giannis, sure. John Morant, I don't know that he falls in that bucket for me. Okay, so here's the argument I would make in favor of Ja Morant. When you traded De'Aaron Fox, he was the best player on your roster. De'Aaron Fox would still be the best player on your roster without any question, I don't think, at this point. You're probably right. Ja Morant would be the best player on your roster. And if you can get Ja Morant without, including a Domas, without including a Keegan, without including maybe even, again, this would be probably the worst defensive backcourt in the history of the world. But if you put Ja Morant and Zach LaVine next to each other, at least you're going to get 85 points a night out of your backcourt. Yeah. And then, again, you got Malik Monk coming off the bench. Maybe in that situation, I mean, you're going to score 45 plus. You're going to score roughly 60, 65 points a night off your bench. In your backcourt. That's pretty phenomenal. It's probably a lot of pick and roll too with Domas, because that's what he wants to do. Ja wants to get in those pick and roll actions. That's part of why they fired Taylor Jenkins, is they went away from that. It goes to what Scott Perry talked about and was asked about at his press conference. He on his podcast, Hoops Genius, I think it's called. Yeah. Hoop Genius said Zach LaVine's an effective scorer, not a winning player, needs to be a third option. If you're bringing in Ja Morant, he's now the second option, at least. Like, that's at least one guy who's going to be the first. LaVine might be a more efficient scorer, but Ja Morant is the number 1 dude on that version of the Kings.
Well, he's the number one dude, and the second guy to me would still be Domas. Domas he's not the number 2 scoring option. He's the number 2 option, and so he's going to run the offense. And between him and Jod, they would run the offense, and it would make Zach LaVine what I think is the perfect role for Zach.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop you there. Then you're not good enough.
If that's
Domas
your
just
team?
showed you that.
Well,
you're not good enough if that's your second option. Crunch time. John Morant's giving it to Domas.
With that specific team, you're not good enough. With I don't know, like this year's version of the Kings, you weren't good enough with Domas.
I don't think he can be a second option.
Well, I'm not saying second scoring option. I'm saying the second option on offense where you're running the ball through him.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean he's a second scoring option. Okay, the number 2 scoring option would still be Zach LaVine.
Yes, which is the ideal.
Yeah, like and figuring out a way to create to trade for John Morant without giving up a Zach LaVine player, it would be difficult. Mm-hmm. Like there is ways to do it, but it would be complicated.
It would also, here's the other thing, because you said something important there. That version of the Kings, I think if you're acquiring John Morant, you're getting like you said, you have a new best player, mm-hmm. but you're still woefully short on, there would have to be additional moves there. Just acquiring John Morant isn't the move. There would still be a length and athleticism problem.
Well, of course. And I mean, just to be honest, Memphis has not been able to disguise John Morant's like issues on the defensive end, even though they had a guy who won the Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah. And they've got a guy named Brandon Clark who comes off the bench and is excellent at playing defense and giving effort.
Desmond Bane was a good defender before he hurt his back.
Yeah, John Conchar just doesn't stop playing. You know, they put Zach Edey in the middle like a gigantic human being.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say the wheels fell off their bus. It was already falling off before they fired Taylor Jenkins. Mm-hmm. But that team still would have won a bunch of games with Taylor Jenkins if they didn't fire Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been fine.
Yeah, I think that they would have been fine too. The fact that they won 48, they probably in the last 9 games probably could have squeaked out 1 or 2 more wins with Taylor Jenkins still there. But I don't know, we'll never know.
John Conchar's 29.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think I'm out now.
Oh, no way.
I think I'm out on John Conchar now.
He just does all the little things. I
know that's why when I made the joke at the top, like I want to take it back. I said I would take anyone from the Grizzlies. I don't want Marvin Bagley. I don't want Marvin Bagley back.
No, and but he's a free agent anyway, so we don't count him as part of that team. But and Luke Kennard, I don't want Luke Kennard either. But yeah, Jay Huff, Santi Aldama, man, that's.
I didn't realize Santi Aldama is only 24.
Well, that and he's about to get his rookie scale. They have a qualifying offer at less than $6 million for this year.
What do you think it would take to get Yuki Kawamura?
A phone call.
Couple first.
Yeah. Hey, I'd take Scottie Pippen Jr. too. Scottie
Pippen Jr. would start at point guard for the Kings. Scottie Pippen Jr. rules, dude.
But that's not a good thing. I don't think if Scottie Pippen Jr. is a starting point guard, I don't think that's a good place to.
Why not? Begin. He's only 24.
Yeah, I mean,
He's 24 at the start of next season. Good defender, very Tyus Jonesy to me.
Okay. I'm just not buying it. Want him starting. I'm just not buying it as buying him as a starting NBA point guard, and that's not trying to be disrespectful. Again, he offensively he's great.
A dog, dude.
48% from the field, 39.7 from 3. He would be
a perfect backup point guard.
Yeah, and backup point guard.
I think that's 100% what he is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would almost go just to put it. I would almost go get anybody on the Grizzlies. Anybody the Grizzlies want to make available, like, yeah, because I think they're going to give you different roles, obviously, but similar to what Jake LaRavia did, just from an effort and play style standpoint.
Yeah,
which matters a lot. The Bucks we've already talked about. I don't know if there's anybody else on the Bucks that I would want. Bobby Portis
is,
I think the one. Maybe somebody like Andre Jackson Jr. if they're gonna trade him for peanuts and you want to just get that athleticism on your bench and see what happens.
Yeah, he's a crazy athlete.
He's the guy. That's the guy. I confused him with a different player earlier this year. Andre Jackson Jr. is the guy who jumped so high in that blowout Kings win over the Bucks a couple years ago.
Oh yeah,
and he had like his waist at the rim, and he got it. And Kevin Huerter like reacted on the bench.
Yep,
and was like, "Oh my god, that was sick." And De'Aaron was like, "You can't do that." And then after the game, Kevin was like, "Well, he's from upstate." So that's a player that, if, like I said, he's available for peanuts.
Mhm.
But I don't think there's anybody else on the Bucks I care to have on the Kings.
Well, the one other guy is if you're going to make a move where you use Zach LaVine to go get a point guard, which, again, I don't know if that will happen or not, or if that can even happen.
Mhm.
I would take Gary Trent as a starting level shooting guard because Gary Trent can shoot the ball.
Final 2 possessions last night notwithstanding.
No, but before that, he was excellent.
Oh, he was cash.
The only reason they're in their game was because he just caught fire.
He's the only reason they were in that game. He's the only reason they won another game in that series.
And he's only 26. He just turned 26.
Gary Trent Jr. is 26?
26.
You're lying to me. Gary Trent Jr. is 37.
No,
Gary Trent Jr. has been in the league since 2006.
He made a whole bunch of money, and now he's on, like, minimum deals. Like, very, very weird his
free agency was weird. He's a really good contributing player, and Milwaukee got him for nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And then they really didn't even use him that much during the season. So
Gary Trent being 26 has me shook.
I'm looking at a picture right now and I'm shook.
If you'd been like, hey, how long has Gary Trent been in the league? I'd be like, 13 years. Was he in year 12 maybe?
The one other guy
he's 26
I would consider is Taurean Prince, because I just think, he's a guy that the Kings just don't have that guy.
I'm right there. The reason I shied away from Taurean Prince when I was looking down their roster is I'm down if Taurean Prince is like your 9th or 10th guy.
Yeah.
You can't be in a spot where Taurean Prince is the second guy off the bench for you on a nightly basis anyway.
Yeah, no, 3rd, 4th guy off the bench. Yeah.
Then who's the other team? Orlando. I think Orlando might be a spot for DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, I just don't like anyone.
That's the problem.
Other than their top 3 guys.
Anybody you want on the Magic, they're not giving up. Because it's Franz Wagner, it's Paolo Banchero, it's Jalen Suggs.
Yeah, and I know a whole bunch of people out there are going to keep saying Jonathan Isaac's name, and, just tell me why. I'm still wondering. This year, he played 71 games, averaged 15.4 minutes per game.
And I don't think that was a this year thing. I think that's how he's just going to have to be effective. And it's really, really hard to be an effective NBA player on 15 minutes a night.
Yeah.
It's hard to contribute that much. So like I said, if they're going to give him away, okay. But I don't think they're interested in doing that.
No. And I'm not interested in KCP. I think you have a younger version of that in Keon Ellis.
Yeah.
If there's any way they would trade Franz Wagner, sure. They're not giving up Wagner. They're not giving up Banchero. So, end of discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you. But that's a team I could see. Maybe it's in a 3-way deal. That's a team I could see if DeMar DeRozan asks out, going, because you pair him with Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, and Franz Wagner. You just have a guy who creates in the half court and can score.
The other
which
guy
is a little bit their problem in their backcourt.
The other team that's like that got bounced as well is the Miami Heat. I could definitely see DeMar DeRozan going to the Heat.
Forgot to write down the Heat.
Again, whether you can get a player out of the Heat that makes any sense at all to the Kings, I don't know. Because if I'm the Kings, I'm not looking at Wiggins. But
why not? Honest to God, if Andrew Wiggins wasn't so expensive, and you could justify having him be your, again, on a Kings team that desperately needs length and athleticism, if you could justify having him as your 8th guy, 7th or 8th guy.
Yeah, but he'd have to be a starter for you.
No, right, and that's what I'm saying. Well, he would have to be because of his contract.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm saying. If you're acquiring Andrew Wiggins now, all of a sudden he's starting.
Yeah, and he's at $28 million next year and $30 million the year after.
Yeah, so you can't justify having him come off the bench, which is probably in an ideal world where he is at this point. But teams are going to keep betting on him.
Yeah,
as a starter. And he did it for the 2022 postseason. Boy, looked awesome.
Yep.
And has not looked that way since. So I'm with you. Contractually, that is prohibitive. So, anyways, shout out to the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic. Love Florida basketball. Anyways, that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. That's Joe Brazil. We are live and local here at the Complex. I'm trying out. We did a brainstorming session where we tried to name our building.
How about the Ridge? Here on the Ridge.
Here on the Ridge. Okay, hang on. Let me try it. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil behind the glass. We are live on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader here at the Ridge. Sounds like golf to me.
Yeah. Well, there's a golf course called the Ridge right up the hill.
That explains it. Who'd have thunk? All right, we're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Back in a second with a handoff. One of D-Lo or Casey will be in on ESPN 1320 at Sacramento Sports Leader.
I guess, I would consider you could do a Devin Carter and DeMar DeRozan for Wiggins.
Yeah. But are you starting him at the 3?
Yeah. Start him at 3 alongside Keegan.
Maybe the 2?
No, if you start him at the 3 alongside Keegan, he's still a good defender. He's just not an all-world defender.
He's like he's more productive than Harrison Barnes.
Well,
probably a better defender.
It's what you're doing. You're acquiring Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, but hopefully a little better version.
Yeah.
Worse shooter, but I think a better athlete.
Yeah, but I mean, this season he shot 37.4% from 3 on 5.8 attempts per game combined between the two stops. He averaged 19 points a game for Miami. I don't know.
I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't if they did that. Like if they just went, yeah, hey, it's DeMar for Andrew Wiggins straight across. I don't even know if that works. But
no, technically speaking, it would.
If that's the deal, sure. I wouldn't hate it, but again, that can't be the solution. There would just have to be additional.
Well, no, because then you're choosing the route of not third best player or second best player. What you're doing in that situation is you're choosing the route where you have all players that are virtually the same skill level.
Yeah.
They just do something a little different than the other player. You know, that the well-rounded team as opposed to the top-heavy team with supported by the right players.
Right. Kenny, don't jump in here just yet because I have a thing to do at the top of the segment that
you don't want to be part of.
You want to be want nothing to do with it. I got to figure out what I'm doing tonight. Hang on.
Yell them out and I'll help you.
Jimmy Butler, 20.5 points.
More.
Really? I was thinking old guy with a bad butt. Second game in 3 nights. Second game in 3 nights. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a closeout game.
Yeah, but they might trick it off.
You think? It go to 7?
6.
They're up 3-1. Yeah. My bad. No, okay. You might be right there.
Steph, 4.5 threes made.
More.
I'm going lower.
Oh. Really?
He looked gassed last game. And they're doing a lot of stuff to get the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, but he's going to have a breakout game. Okay, what else you got?
Going lower. I need to find a rocket now. Alperen Şengün, 21.5 points.
What's his points, rebounds, assists?
37.5.
Ooh, I'm there. Maybe not. Maybe not.
I think he's got some MF to him. I think he's going to come out fired up. That's what we're doing. All right. I feel good about it.
Okay.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Someone said I'm doing reverse psychology. That's not true. 1, because nobody that I just spoke about is listening to this program. And 2, Gold State could still win tonight.
Oh,
They could very much just close the Rockets out. Like if the Rockets are just kind of cooked, that wouldn't shock me at all. But this is Underdog Daily Fantasy, where I'm picking higher or lower on at least 2 player stats because I can win up to $1,000 that way. I have to be realistic. I think Golden State could win tonight, and maybe they get a lot of production from Brandon Pajemski again, or maybe Moses Moody knocks down some threes, or maybe Quentin Post hits some threes. Maybe it's Jimmy Butler having another huge game, and the Warriors win it 93-89 kind of thing. That's all very much on the table. I'm trying to get this lineup right. So here's where I'm at. Underdog Daily Fantasy. Now, this is a good time to jump on, not because it's just the NBA playoffs where there's games every day. But if you get in with Underdog Daily Fantasy now, their extender promo starts up again in the second round. So in the first game, you get a 40% profit boost token. So if your lineup's going to win $100 and you play that token, now it's worth $140. 40% profit boost. Game 2, it's 50%. Game 3, 60%, and so on. So I don't get to use one of those tokens tonight because I already used my Game 4 tokens last night. Excuse me, my Game 5 tokens last night. But here's where I'm at with the Warriors-Rockets game. That's a game I'm locking into with Underdog. Jimmy Butler, we're going higher than 20.5 points.
Okay.
Playoff Jimmy, showing up, get to the free throw line a couple times, hit a couple of big buckets late. Steph Curry, I'm going lower than 4.5 3-pointers made. You wanted higher. And it wouldn't surprise me if he comes out and has one of those like 9 of 13 games. But with the way the Rockets defended him last game, it is really clear that they are fine living with Brandon Pajemski scoring 27 or 28 or however many he had, with Moses Moody taking open threes, Gary Payton II getting open looks. They are just doing the Kings thing of just, hey, anyone but Steph. And Steph's still going to score his points. He's still going to hit a couple of threes, but he's 37 years old. This is their second game in 3 nights. He looked a little worn out last game, and maybe that means he's ready for a bounce back. I'm just leaning toward lower. I think maybe you get that big breakout game next game at Chase.
Okay.
The last one, Alperen Şengün, I'm going higher than 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. My instinct was lower because there's a chance that he's just mentally checked out, just tries to do too much, maybe gets into foul trouble. But I think he's just got a little bit of like middle finger to his game. And I think he's going to come out fired up, and he's going to have a big game. And Golden State, when he's on, doesn't really have anybody who can stop him.
No, he just abused Quentin Post.
He might be the only guy who scores.
Yep.
But I think he gets higher than 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Would love for you to join me on Underdog. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code KyleM. That's KYLEM to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code KyleM. KYLEM. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/extend.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncbgambling.org. And with that, it's time for the handoff.
It's time now for the handoff. Taking the handoff from James and Kyle today, here's KC, Kenny Caraway.
I could not see you. Your mic's not on? There we go. That's the
Oh, wrong camera.
Whoops. That's
whole reaction was hilarious.
That's my bad, Joe. I was like, what? Because, well, you were not in the picture because you were plugging your headphones in.
No.
So when I looked down, I didn't see, and I think I just saw a person there and just clicked the wrong one.
Yeah. I just,
that's my bad.
I didn't even want to be in the background on that. You know what I mean? I don't even want to be in the background, I want no problems.
No.
Funny story I'll tell you off air.
You're just a guy over there running your game. That's all.
Hey,
yeah.
I
see you.
Hey, so that's okay. So what were we were talking about something. Oh, would you trade on for the Kings? Talking about next season.
Mm-hmm.
The Miami Heat call and say, hey, Andrew Wiggins for DeMar DeRozan straight across.
That's not bad. That's.
Is there a better player you're going to get for DeMar DeRozan?
Probably not. You're probably going to get somebody around that tier,
right?
As Kyle likes to have.
I love my tiers. Thank you.
I think it might depend though on like what the ceiling is for the player you can get for DeMar on just how much draft capital you're willing to give up. Because like if you're going to swing a
Well,
big
yeah, but
deal, you're going to have to start loading in picks.
Well, no, and that's what I mean is without having to give up draft picks. If they just say we'll take DeMar, we think that he can help our team. You could have Andrew Wiggins.
Well, that, and I think the other reason why Miami would say yes is because the contracts aren't that far off this year. It's like $25 million for DeMar, $28 million for Wiggins. But next year you only owe DeMar $10 million guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a $25 million, $26 million contract, but only $10 million is guaranteed, where Wiggins is at 30. So they might be able to get back into free agency at that point and find a player that suits their system better, or get DeMar at a cheaper rate or whatever.
I like the deal. I probably would do that. My concern was you would probably have the single most passive team in the history of the NBA. I mean, just a bunch of people that nobody wants to be aggressive. Just Levine, Sabonis, Keegan, Wiggins, just passive as all hell. You probably lead the league in shot clock violations.
Oh.
Nobody wants to shoot.
That's funny.
But I like those guys. I like all those players.
Yeah.
Well, Malik might still be here, so maybe he'll be the one to shoot.
You
don't want him starting either, though. You're going to need a point guard, so we'll see what happens with that.
All right. We just solved all the Kings' problems.
What about...
but we still need a point guard.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we got to figure that. I threw out the idea because we've been talking about the teams who have been eliminated.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that the Grizzlies might just be in full blown, like, hey, we're resetting this entire thing. Mm-hmm. And I said, man, you look at how Jake LaRavia fit here. I would just take anybody from the Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. If you're going to get that play style, how would you feel? And I think James and I wound up landing on the same side of this argument. I think you swung me on that. How would you feel about Scottie Pippen Jr. as a starting point guard?
I mean, Scottie Pippen Jr. is a really good basketball player, like really good. I didn't. They're
probably not a starter.
I didn't see. Yeah, probably not. I didn't see this out of him at Vanderbilt though. But he's pretty damn good. If I was Memphis, if I'm blowing everything up, that's probably the one guy I'm holding on to. Not because he's like franchise or anything, but like, all right, we're gonna move on from these big time contracts. And, I'll keep a guy like Scottie Pippen Jr.
Him and Gigi Jackson. Like you could see
Santi Aldama. I thought
Jalen Wells.
I thought Santi Aldama, because I brought up Santi Aldama. Like, dude, 6'11", knocked down some threes. He's got some. I need to find new words that I can say on the radio when I talk about, like, that guy's got that dog in him, because the words I use are not suitable for radio.
Really?
Yeah. I'll tell you off air what they are.
Okay.
He's got some. No, it's not anything crazy. It's just not. It's an FCC violation to say the words I say.
Oh,
okay. Well, we don't want that.
Yeah.
No, nobody wants that.
He's got some.
Flags are okay. FCC violations.
Exactly. They're words that other people say. I'm not the only person who uses these. Yeah. Anyways, he's just got some like dog in him, right?
Right.
I thought Santi Aldama was 28. Santi Aldama is 25 years old.
This is the day we learned that everyone is much younger than we think they are.
Hey, how old Gary Trent Jr.?
Gary Trent Jr.
Just off the
top of my head, he's 32.
He's 26.
Gary Trent Jr.
Brother, yes, he just turned 26.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, he came out as a freshman, and I had him. I said 32 because I was like, he's been in the league 10 years.
That's what I thought too.
But I guess, yeah, he came out as a freshman, so he's about 19. And it probably hasn't been 10 years. It's probably been 8 or 9.
I thought Gary Trent was a vet on like the Raptors team that beat the Warriors in the finals.
He played out that contract too. Like that was a crazy thing last year. It was like a $19 million player option that he picked up, and then he might get traded anywhere. He was 25 years old.
Wow.
Like I was thinking, like
I tried to get him back if I was Scott Perry. I tried to get him back. I like Gary Trent. That was a tough end of the game for him yesterday. But
I forgot he was in Portland first.
Yeah,
I thought he was Toronto.
He was drafted by the Kings.
Yeah, we gave him to Portland.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he was drafted, and then the Kings gave us
past considerations. He wasn't even a player.
Yeah, I gotta love that.
I would have bet the house that he went Toronto to Portland, not the other way around.
Yeah, so
solid player, solid bench guy,
really good player, except for the final 2 possessions.
Damn,
that was tough.
Oh, the turnover.
I felt so, dude. I feel so bad for Doc Rivers. Like, what are you supposed to do? Everybody's like, "Oh, Doc, like, what's he supposed to do there?"
Well, I'm glad somebody does.
Oh boy.
You also talked about me on Twitter, Kyle. I saw that. It was kind of harsh.
No, but it wasn't. it's like I said Doc Rivers just put on a masterclass in being Doc Rivers, because it's like just by existing as the coach, the Bucks were going to mess something up.
Well, damn, that's kind of harsh.
But it is. It's facts.
I mean, you don't give me credit for being up by 7 with 30 seconds left. What about that? Who's able to do that? I was up 30. Or excuse me, I was up 7. Oh, I got jokes.
That last bit right there was Doc Rivers doing Jerry Jones. What do you guys got coming up on D-Lo and KC?
Man,
Doc Rivers going to join the show?
Doc Rivers will be in the building. I can promise you that.
All right, Doc
Doc
Rivers
will be
joining
there.
the show
Shaq
live.
might be there. Your
Oh,
partner
what?
on Candlestick Chronicles is pulling up on us. Chris Biederman.
You got a Biederman impression to pull out?
Ohio State sucks. How about that?
That's a bad Biederman impression. Doesn't sound like him. It's not something he'd say. D-Lo and KC coming up next. For Joe Brazil, that's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insiders. We are sponsored by Jiffy Lube. And we're going to be back here tomorrow. You guys want to do it again tomorrow, 10 a.m. about there? All right, 10 a.m. tomorrow right here on ESPN 1320 on 98.5 FM HD2, YouTube, Twitch, the podcast, free Odyssey app, wherever you listen. Can't wait to have you back tomorrow on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Center. Drink water, be nice, people. See you. I didn't get